we'll kind of put a bow on this entire Chicago conversation. The fact that it's still a real rivalry is cool to me. Like, I think that is very cool to me. I don't know how often that happens in the NFL. I know there's divisional rivals and everything like that, but as players come and go, they're not as tied to the rivalry as maybe in college you would be, because you're there for 4 or 5 years and you kind of know, and it's bought in. The fact that the Packers and the Bears are a rivalry still, I think, is amazing. And I don't know if you're a big part of upholding that, because he told us that Big Mike would show videos of all these highlight hits between the Bears and the Packers over the years. But did you, when you said and got to the point of ownership over Chicago, that is something, like, I think you took real, like, you take that to heart, like, that the Packers are better than the Bears over your tenure and over Favre's. And then you were asked afterwards if this was potentially going to be the last time you get to do this to Chicago as a Packer in this rivalry. And I think you said something about you're not so sure that this is the last one. Have you thought about long-term in this world? And I know you're very much a be present, be in there, but whenever you said you weren't sure if this was going to be the last one, or you don't think that's going to be the case, you alluded to basically like you being in Chicago and potentially landlording them again. But have you had a chance to think about your future and what the world is? Because outside, the conversation is very loud from every single city that thinks they potentially will get Aaron Rodgers.
To be frank, before the game, I was thinking about how many times we've been in that locker room, and that was my 18th time in the locker room, my 15th time, 14th time starting against them at Soldier Field. And anybody who's been in that locker room knows it's one of the smaller locker rooms in the NFL. I'm always tucked kind of back in the left in the same spot next to Mace, and a lot of times the hot water doesn't work. It's just like one of those, and you don't even mind. It's just one of those things. The hot water, by the way, was working after the game, so big thank.
Way to go, Chicago.
A couple times it hasn't been over the years. Maybe that's because the pipes are just so goddamn frozen because of the cold weather we played in. But I was wondering what it would feel like to walk off the field, and in that moment, if it would feel like it was going to be my last time or not. And so I was generally looking forward to what that felt like. And the way I felt walking off the field was why I answered the question the way I answered it. It didn't feel like the last time, for whatever reason. I'm not sure why necessarily, but energetically it didn't feel like it was the last time walking off that field. It was a special feeling, again, to win at that place, to win by double digits, an important game for us. But also to talk about how special the rivalry is, I did mention that to Justin after the game. I got a chance to meet him and talk about how much I've admired watching him play so far in his young career. But also told him how special the rivalry is, and just to embrace it, and that I hope he gets many years of enjoying this rivalry, because it is one of those special things. And I think for whatever reason, some of that rivalry may have, luster might wane from year to year, but it doesn't wane for the fans, not at all. It doesn't wane for those of us who love the history of the NFL and the history of rivalries like this. It's always going to be special. I've obviously played in more of them than anybody on our squad, and there's been some amazing victories, some tough losses as well. Thankfully, more of those victories. But there's been some iconic players who've played in this rivalry for the last, 100 years. Most of the names you think about are in the, got a yellow jacket. They're in the Hall of Fame. And you look around at our stadium at the names in the bowl, and look around their stadium. There's some of the people who made the league what the league is played in that Bears-Packers rivalry, and it's fun to be a part of it.
Yeah, it was awesome to watch it unfold, the I Own You thing. I think that's why it was so big, because their fans are so passionate about it. You're still passionate about it in a world where it seems like being passionate about something like that might not be something that most people are doing anymore. So I think it's incredibly cool.